Howdy ho Maplers, and welcome to Buccaneer, the first of the final 5 250s that I have to complete in this game. And honestly, I don't know if I could have picked a better starting point for these final 5s. It's a pirate class, and it possibly got one of the best revamps in Destiny. For the gear, as always, with these 250s, just my Meso accessories. If I'm going to be training all these characters, they're gonna burn through a lot of Meso, and oh boy do they. So I need Meso accessories while I'm training to recoup a little bit of the cost while I'm training. Pendant of Spirit always, since it's an EXP source, don't really need a second pendant for training to 250. So long as you have your V Matrix and you're training within your level for mobs, you're usually going to be okay, even with mid-tier funding. This character's funding is definitely a tad overkill, but going overkill for Buck definitely enables some more of its creative rotations. This is actually the first character in like 6 characters that I haven't gotten a Poyo's friend, by the way. Very disappointed in Buck's terrible RNG. For your inner ability while you're training, of course, Meso is pretty much best in slot if you're training consistently, but ideally I believe you just want 20% boss as your prime line, since Buck doesn't really benefit too heavily from attack speed. And then for your V Matrix. Of course, in its rightful spot, even for the final 5, decent Holy Symbol. It's just the best skill you can put onto your V Matrix as soon as you hit 5th job. Level 1, level 25, level 30, doesn't matter. This skill is going to carry you with how much it is a benefit to you. And of course, since it's a pirate, even though it's bugged currently with the Night Troop event, loaded dice. Effectively, Holy Symbol number 2. You lock this thing onto number 6, and you're guaranteed another stacking percent EXP buff. Well, who could ask for more, dude? And then, by golly, it's the defining skill of Buccaneer. Lord of the Deep. I almost got mine maxed. Almost. This skill is pretty much what makes Buccaneer Buccaneer. It used to be a skill where it had energy management, and it was a little tedious. There was about 60 to 70% uptime on this ability back on pre-Destiny Buccaneer, and it was still a really good skill. It was quite lazy training rotations, but post-Destiny though. 100% uptime as long as you are killing mobs. 100% uptime as long as you're hitting a boss. Dude, this skill is so gosh darn good. It enables so many lazy rotations for Buccaneer just by its very nature of existing. This, coupled with Advanced Stash that Buck got in the Destiny revamps, have turned Buck into one of the, if not the laziest mobbers in the universe. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows over here in Buckland. There are some drawbacks to Lord of the Deep and Advanced Dash because Buck moves so fucking fast. Your pets are never gonna have a chance to actually loot these platforms. Buck can train in some wild maps, some really big maps with its insane mobility, but you're just not going to be looting very much if you don't have vac pets. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Dude, Lord of the Deep feels so good. Like, genuinely, it feels so good. No secret, I was playing Buck before the Destiny revamps came out. I just wanted a character to play for fun, and I chose Buck because I liked Lord of the Deep. And it was around the time that they announced Advanced Dash for KMS. And it was fun. It was great. But there was always that little thing. What if it was up all the time? And now we have it up all the time, and do let me tell you, it's pretty great. Oh, I love this skill. It's such good consistent damage for bossing. It does decent enough damage as you level it that it'll keep up with you in level, unless you're like blitzing through the levels without getting any nodes. It'll keep up well enough. But if you're focusing solely on Lord of the Deep for your training rotations, you're gonna need to be a bit stronger than necessary. For your V skills, or your trios rather, mine are very, very scuffed. They got absolutely destroyed in the Destiny update, but you have 6 skills that you need to boost. You have Serpent Burst, Nautilus Strike, Octo Punch, Hook Bomber, Corkscrew Blow, and Serpent's Rage. Them's the 6 skills you want. To be honest, you really don't need Rage, Corkscrew Blow, or Octo Punch if you're solely looking to train. That's just primarily bossing skills. So if you want to min-max your funding on Buck, just train it to 250 as fast as possible with Hyper Burn. Take all the nodes you would have put into these for bossing, slap them into Lord of the Deep. Focus on your actual mobbing skills. Serpent Burst, Hook Bomber, and I guess Nautilus Strike, you know? Since you need a third, it's there. You don't necessarily need Nautilus Strike too much. If you want to just like go super budget, you just ideally want Hook Bomber, Octo Punch, and Serpent Burst. That covers your mobbing, that covers your bossing well enough. For bossing, you'd ideally want Rage, but hey, beggars can't be choosers when you're playing on a budget. But I really don't have too many complaints with Buck's V skills, or its trios. Hook Bomber is sort of deceptively short, but it's more than made up for it with Sea Serpent Burst. That thing is ridiculously good on its hitbox and its uptime. It triggers very, very consistently. It's never down for too long. And every few casts, you just get the really big burst for your Sea Serpents that can pretty much clear your entire screen. It's great. And of course, Corkscrew Blow. I love this skill now, dude. Animation cancels just about any ability Buck has, and it moves you forward. So you can be using this if a boss knocks you back, just nope, slide right back into their DMs and just keep punching them in the face. Buck feels so slick at bossing, it is unreal. This is absolutely a dual blade tier class for me, where I absolutely adore how this class bosses, but I'm not a huge fan on the mobbing outside of Lord of the Deep. And then for the other Buck V skills, we've got the Mobility King, Serpent Vortex. This skill enables a lot of Buck's more out there rotations for really large maps in conjunction with your up jump with rope lift. Is Serpent Vortex enables Buck to make rotations out of maps that really probably weren't meant to have those kind of rotations. This thing is fantastic for repositioning yourself mid-air. Only downside this has is since Buck is only a single single flash jump class, if you up jump and then use Serpent Vortex and you just barely miss the platform, you kind of just fall. Which, it's not bad, you know, just get good, don't miss the platform. And then for bossing, this is just a nice little extra bit of damage. You pretty much want to be using this on cooldown because it is more damage than just using Octo Punch. It's pretty gosh darn good. And their second skill, Lightning Form. Almost entirely a bossing skill. You get a big final damage boost, and you get some Spirit Bombs to go with them. The goodest thing about these Spirit Bombs, all 3 of them are iframes. So if you're in an emergency situation, you've got 4 on-command iframes. Literally just pop Lightning Form, panic, chuck some balls, dodge abilities, and then you can use Howling Fist if you really need more. It feels good. They're also really good damage too. Like, Buck doesn't have the greatest burst in the universe, but what it does have for burst is very, very acceptable for its cooldowns. Like, Buck is by no means a slouch in the bossing department. They just really struggle with burst-reliant situations like Phase 3 Lucid. Buck has some really, really good damage. And a lot of it comes from Lightning Form. The other lot of it comes from Howling Fist. This skill, dude, I absolutely adore Howling Fist. The sound effects, the animations, the hitbox, the iframe. Oh, it's a perfect 10 out of 10 in every way. This skill is just so satisfying to use. I use it occasionally while mobbing. It's so satisfying to use. It's not even really that beneficial to use while mobbing, but it just feels so good and it looks so cool. Using Howling Fist is a great, great skill. Easily top 5 favorite skill in the game. This skill is fantastic. It used to sort of be a problem because it was your iframe and burst skill, but thankfully now that you have Lightning Form giving you 3 iframes with your Spirit Bombs, you can just throw this thing out for pure joy or damage, whatever suits your fancy. And then of course, you've got Rope Lift. Buck can make some really good use out of Rope Lift because with Lord of the Deep, even while you're locked into Rope Lift's animation, your Lord of the Deep is still actively triggering hits onto mobs. So there are a few rotations that make heavy use out of Rope Lift, pulling you up through platforms filled with mobs, where your Lord of the Deep is just going to pass through and tick through all those mobs because its tick rate for damage is also really quick. And once you get to the top of the Rope Lift, you just start your rotation and you've pretty much full cleared that section of the map. It's really nice. It's not something you need for every rotation. It's more so a skill you want to throw in for very specific rotations and then pull off if you don't need it and throw in a more useful skill. And of course, the other two decent Sharp Eyes, decent combat orders. Don't need decent Speed Infusion because you're the originator of Speed Infusion. You've got the real deal. But crit rate, crit damage, and all skills +1. This all skills +1 is actually pretty impactful for Buck for bossing, because it gives you 2% more trigger chance on your defensive form, which is effectively Buck's cheater way of surviving non-true one-shots. It's just straight up an RNG chance to just live. It's like a Shadelink, but way more reliable. And of course, True Arachnid Reflection. You get it for completing the Will storyline. Decent mobbing, decent bossing. It's a summon. Who doesn't like those? There's not too many skills you need on really early for Buck in the mobbing department, so once we're post ignition, once we have the Urda Shower changes, you can take out just about any one of these besides like your top row here and put in Urda Shower as soon as you can, because having another reliable summon, especially one you can get at level 200, is so beneficial to you. And then this last slot was just my character building one, even for Buccaneer, and I didn't expect this because of how strong Lord of the Deep is. Even for Buccaneer, on spawn boosters, if you're traveling through the maps, and by golly does Buccaneer travel through the maps, you're going to be triggering it about twice as often as the rune counterpart. However, for like reboot players, once the totems are fully removed, you're going to want to switch from using character building to using the rune boost one, because the rune boost is a consistent 4 triggers per hour while you're training, and it's not very easy to trigger character building on base spawn. Buccaneer can probably get away with it because of how fucking fast they move, but a lot of classes just aren't gonna be able to. For the training, as always, make sure your dice is locked at 6, bonus EXP. Make sure your serpents are toggled on, bonus mobbing. Buck starts out pretty strong, peters back a little bit in the middle, and then just zips to the finish. As always, turn on Lord of the Deep because it's going to be on from start to finish. For 200 until 205, you've got the Tried and True, you've got Below the Cave, or Eastern Cave Path 2. They're both fantastic. And these maps are going to show you, or be an introduction rather, to advanced dashing. Using your advanced dash followed by your jump key in quick succession will do this for you. And you can set this up effectively the same way you used to set up Spanish farming as a Kana using Alt-GR's keyboard settings. If you put your advanced dash on control and your jump key on Alt and then just press your right Alt key with a single key press, you can perfectly advance dash. Now this is really great for making for lazy rotations because really all you're doing is advance dashing in a circle. When you have 100% consistency, it's a lot better for your EXP rates. While this is great for your mobbing, it has big detrimental effects if you actually want to learn to play Buccaneer. You can definitely enable Alt-GR if you just want to train to 250 like I do. But if you're planning to main Buccaneer, I would highly recommend just finding a key setting for you that is comfortable for advanced dash and your jump key so that you can manually control it, because there are definitely situations where you're going to need to be able to control how far you're jumping with advanced dash, whereas with Alt-GR, you're always going max distance. But that's literally the rotation. You just advance dash your way through the map, flinging yourself like crazy. Or if you can't quite get the hang of advanced dash, if you have her, Lucid Soul here on the right side. If you have Urda Shower up there on the top platform post Destiny, and you can actually just flash jump through this map. If you flash jump at the top of your jump, your Lord of the Deep is going to be tall enough to hit every single monster on these leftmost platforms. Really simple rotation if you're not getting the hang of advanced dash right away, or if you just can't figure out how to set up Alt GR. It's pretty darn simple, and it'll get you on into 205 really, really fast. And boy howdy, if you thought this map was easy. 205 until 210. If you're in a situation where you're not heavily invested into Buck just yet, if your Lord of the Deep isn't really pumping out the damage numbers it needs to for the hidden maps, you have the option of T-Boy's Research Train. It is the easiest option in the universe. Quite literally, if you have advanced dash, just spawn booster on the map if you got it, and just jump twice, left, right. You're hitting literally everything down here. The only mobs you don't hit are these ones up here. So if you have her, Lucid Soul up the top. If you're post ignition, you just slap down your Urda Shower up there, baby, and you literally just jump through this map. You don't even need to advance dash here. You can just flash jump and meander your way through here. Take out the timing aspect of advanced dash entirely. By golly, just flash jump. This is a cakewalk of EXP, and you're a pirate. You get decent holy symbol and loaded dice, and these are the effort levels you have to put in. I chose the right character to start these final 5 on. But if you do have the damage, if you have that arcane force, you've got those levels for your Levi or your Lord of the Deep, your best map for EXP is going to be the hidden underground train. This map is a little more awkward since it has 2 platforms on the top, but similar strategy as before. If you have her, Lucid Soul on this middle platform, or your Urda Shower post ignition, and then you are just dash jumping along the bottom, jumping or using your up jump when you're coming over to the left so that you can clear the mobs up there. By the time you hit the ground, stuff respawns. By the time you hit the right corner, stuff respawns, and you just work yourself in a cyclical pattern like this. Couldn't get easier. Buck is, if nothing else, a very lazy mobber. Almost to its detriment. I haven't played a class that has made me this sleepy in a long time while training. There is some very low-key input rotations for Buccaneer. But that'll get you on into 210 super duper quick. And then for 210, you head on to Choo Choo. I've been testing these maps more because I like the nostalgia of training in Choo Choo rather than just staying in Rev 3 or in Reverse City all the way till Yum Yum Island. For 210 until 220, you've got 2 good options. Once again, if your Lord of the Deep isn't necessarily killing mobs just yet, you're struggling, you need to use Hook Bomber, you've still got great options to you. Torrent Zone 3 feels real nice with Hook Bomber. You don't even need to advance dash here. Quite literally, you can just flash jump and Hook Bomber. It'll just take 1 flash jump and a Hook Bomber through the middle and then hit the portal right back to the center. Pretty much every rotation you're going to get one of your Serpent Rages, so your clear is pretty darn consistent. If you time it out, you can always get it on this first island, so that once you've gotten your 6 triggers of it and you get your big Serpent attack, you can just use it to clear those very top mobs that you're not normally hitting. You don't even need to advance dash here. Just literally flash jump through with Hook Bomber and Lord of the Deep active, and it's really nice. It's very relaxing, good EXP, works great on base spawn. It'll carry you on into Lachlan super quick. But if you've got those spawn boosters, if you've got your Lord of the Deep up to snuff, got the Arcane Force, Biddy Bopple Forest 2. This is a map where you're going to want to have Rope Lift because it is super, super handy. Always make sure you're buffed up. Your rotation is pretty simple. Middle of the platform, Rope Lift up. Lord of the Deep is just going to about kill everything on that platform as you Rope Lift through it, and then once you get to the top, just advance dash jump once over to the left. You'll make it almost perfect to the left side platform, and then just down jump, advance dash back, Rope Lift back up, and you work yourself in a nice little circle. This map can be kind of awkward to loot because you're moving past a lot of platforms. There's a lot of platforms, so looting them with normal pets is sort of tedious at times, but the EXP is really good for how lazy it is. I love this map. even pre-revamp. Pre-Destiny, I was training here. Even with 70% uptime on Lord of the Deep, this is just a very chill rotation. Feels good. It gets good EXP rates compared to your Yum Yum counterparts. And hey, it's a non-Yum Yum map. Gotta train in Choo Choo every now and again. It's still good. But those maps will carry you on into Lachlan super duper quick. And then for Lachlan, you've really kind of got the pick of the litter here. Outlaw Street 2, Outlaw Street 3, Rev 3, Occupied Dance Floor, all of them are good, but none of them are really great. This is kind of the lull period for Buccaneer. This is where you have a little bit of growing pains getting into Arcana, but you're still in these early levels, they still go by pretty quick, so even if they're a little subpar, they're still really, really nice. I would recommend either Outlaw Street 3, if you have your advanced dash down, or Occupied Dance Floor 1 if you're still struggling a bit to get the advanced dash down, because this map requires you to only use Flash Jump and Hook Bomber. As always, just use Hook Bomber over onto that left platform. Hook Bomber has a nice long reach to it, but it doesn't have a really tall hitbox, so it works nice. All you do is Flash Jump through this map. It works great on base spawn, it's a nice lazy rotation, but for spawn boosters, it does leave a little bit to be desired. With spawn boosters, we ideally want to be dashing around, right? So with a big ol' hop, skip, and a jump, Outlaw Street 3. This is just the map that felt the best to me. This is where you want to start weaving in your Hook Bomber with your advanced dash. If you have your keys set up in a row, like advanced dash, then your jump key, then Hook Bomber, if you just press them all in a row, 1, 2, 3, you'll pretty much never fail the combo. Your Hook Bomber's animation is almost perfectly designed to be weaved in with your advanced dash. So as long as you're getting a somewhat large dash, you're pretty much never going to have to wait for Hook Bomber's animation, even on attack speed too. This is definitely a class that almost, if never, needs attack speed 0 to train. Buck's animation and its whole design for its Destiny revamp kind of nullifies the need for a green pot while training, and all you do is just work yourself in a nice little circle, and you just close your eyes, let these levels fly by, and then you can get to the better areas. One of the few times in one of these 250s where an early Arcana map is actually genuinely better than the Lachlan counterparts. At 205, pretty much immediately at 205, you want to head on into Arcana to where water and sunlight meet. This map is good on base spawn, this map is good on spawn boosters. There is only one downside, and that it is the top platform is annoying as fuck to loot. But it is more than worth it because this map was handcrafted for Buccaneer and advanced dashing. Your rotation is pretty much advanced dash along the bottom, up jump when you're towards the left, and then use your serpent dash to go up and to the right to start moving yourself towards the right, and you just work yourself in a nice little circle here. If you're somehow moving too quick through the rotation that you don't have a dash, you can just rope lift up instead to wait for another charge of your dash. It works perfectly, and this map feels nice. It's really good. This is about as close to the upper path rotation as you're going to get once upper path gets its changes at the end of Ignition. And this will carry you on into 232 right quick. Now, I trained to 250 in upper path, but because it's getting changed at the end of Ignition, I'm not quite sure if the map is still going to be as good as it is currently. From what it looks like, the platforms are being lowered enough that Buck might be able to just dash jump with Hook Bomber left and right through the map and full clear the whole goddarn thing. But I haven't seen any examples of KMS players doing that just yet, so until I know for sure, I'm not comfortable recommending upper path post-Destiny, so instead, we'll go with the second best option currently, and one that is still very good post-Destiny. Also good as a map with no spawn boosters. D-Cup 1. Haven't been here in a hot minute. This is another map where you're gonna need to show your mastery of that advanced dash. Pretty much, you're just moving yourself in a circle. drop down once you're on the left side, advanced dash, you can up jump, rope lift, or you can use your Serpent's Charge to get back up to the top platforms. Or, if you're really lazy, just fall in the river. It'll teleport you up to the opposite side, and then you can work your way in a rotation like that. Just always dropping down into the river, spawn on the opposite side, jump across, drop down, and just keep working yourself in this little rotation. It's pretty darn easy, and since these are long flat platforms, even without vac pets, this gets pretty consistent meso rates. It sits right around the like 120, 150 mil per hour with max meso buffs for Bara meso rates, which is really acceptable for a non-summon class. Them some good eats as far as meso rates go. But those maps will take you on into 250 if you need. The problem with going to higher level areas with Buccaneer is that your Lord of the Deep starts to need a lot more damage as mobs HP goes, so unless you're scaling your funding with your leveling, Lord of the Deep is gonna start falling off. So you can't really make really quick rotations that rely solely on Lord of the Deep, like pressing for that level, the same level bonus EXP rather. But there are some rotations that are just so gosh darn good. You don't even need Lord of the Deep to one-shot. At 243 until 250, you've got the damage, you've got the will, and if you've got a vac bet, Final Edge of Light 6 is just about the best EXP Buck can get while training to 250. The only problem: this map is absolutely fucking impossible to loot without a vac pet. I know I tried. I spent like 5 hours here trying to figure out how to loot this map efficiently. But no matter how hard I tried, there was never a rotation that I could get down to loot these platforms and make the EXP better than just staying in Arcana at either D Cup 1 or Upper Path. I really tried, dude. I love this rotation. It shows all of Buck's strengths all at once. You've got advanced dash jumping, you've got Lord of the Deep, you've got your serpent dashes, you've got hook bomber, you've got good synergy with your toggle skills, and they're really good hitboxes. Everything works for Buck in this map, but it's impossible to loot. And that's my biggest gripe with Buck. No matter how lazy the rotations is, no matter how fun it is to dash jump around, you are really beholden to needing a vac pet on this class. It is something else. This map is fantastic, dude. For a non-summon class, being able to push about 145 bill EXP without event buffs is pretty wild, man. Like, Buck is just so gosh darn fast with advanced dash. You can get through these larger areas. You can start getting some unique rotations for your training. Even on Frenzied Spawn, which is usually a pretty hard limiter to these types of maps, but Buck is just so gosh darn mobile, she can make it happen. And it feels good! It feels real good. It just doesn't feel good not looting the map. Oh man. That's kinda why I like the bossing for Buck more than I like her mobbing. Like, I don't use vac pets in any of my 250s because I like it to be as usable for a newer player as possible, because loot rotations are a very important part of your MapleStory experience. Even if you're playing in reg servers, sure, we don't get many mesos while we loot, but you still need to loot them mesos. So having a class that has these insane EXP potentials but absolutely dog water meso rates, it sucks. It really sucks. Like, Buck can keep up with Corsair, with Cannon Master, she can keep up with like Pathfinder and Dell levels of EXP rates on Frenzied Spawn, but she just cannot keep up at looting without having these $300 minimum pets. It's so close to being perfect, dude. This is definitely a Sherbert kind of class. Only train your Buck when you have the free Sherbert pets, right? That'd be the way to do it. But that is effectively the training. Even once you're beyond these level ranges into Moonbridge, into Grandis, into Cernium, Burnium, and beyond, you're still gonna be advanced dashing along. You're just gonna be using Hook Bomber in pretty much every map outside of the Arcane River because, well, Lord of the Deep is great when it can kill mobs quickly, but unless you're really, really funded, It's not going to be doing a lot of killing monsters in the grandest regions until you have the Sacrix Force for it, but if you want to see examples of how to train there, I would highly recommend my boy Kobe, Iceland Guns. He has got a fantastic progression series for Buccaneer. Shows just about any possible map you can train on base spawn, so it'll be a great resource for any Reboot players who can't necessarily follow these guides for inspiration anymore, unfortunately. But, dude, I love Buccaneer. I think Dual Blade might have finally been dethroned. I think Buccaneer might be my favorite bosser in the game currently. Everything about this class feels so clean while you're bossing. Octopunch feels a million times more reactive than it did pre-Destiny. It looks better. Lord of the Deep, 100% uptime, feels great, consistent damage output, corkscrew, blow, animation cancels, just about anything and can be used in a pinch as a dash. Lightning Form with its double tap teleports, its 3 iframes, Howling Fist with its iframe with its big damage. Boy, I love this class. I just wish its mobbing was better. Dude, there aren't many complaints either. Like, Hook Bomber's hitbox being fairly short is about the only one. There are some rotations that could really work for Buck with advanced dashing if Hook Bomber was just a little bit taller. But its reach kind of limits its upper potential for training areas. But there are so many maps that Buck can already train in that that's not really gonna hold them back. Like, this class can train in so many maps with advanced dash, with Lord of the Deep, with Hook Bomber. It's got options in spade. Not being able to perfectly min-max it isn't gonna hurt this class at all. Oh, there was one thing I did forget to mention at the start. If you're playing Buccaneer, make sure Serpent Scale is on auto. I got to 236 when I was just like, where are these serpent skills that Kobe's using? Don't be like me. Actually just like clueless over here, like where are these big serpents at? Oh boy, oh. Dude, I would heavily recommend everyone try Buck. This class is so fucking fun to play. Like once I realized that you can use the Spanish Kana setup with Alt GR for advanced dash, I was smiling ear to ear, dude. Like it's actually some of the laziest training rotations in the game. Like if you rated every class in like APM per hour for training, I think Buck with advanced dash might actually just be the lowest. It's so fun. It's so lazy. And it's really beginner friendly too. Hook Bomber has a really good base damage to it. Even if your Lord of the Deep isn't leveled up, it can't one-shot mobs. Just weave in Hook Bomber with every advanced dash. Your mobbing is really good. Most maps that you just jump around with Lord of the Deep on, you could just start weaving Hook Bomber in and they'll still get just about the same EXP rates. They're just going to require, you know, one extra key press. It's great. This is a great beginner-friendly class. It's got really good DPM. It's got pretty substantial burst. It's just, it struggles a little bit in really burst-heavy situations, like I said, like with Phase 3 Lucid. It's just not quite there. But in every other aspect of the game, Buccaneer has it, dude. Buck has it down. This is a fantastic class. Might actually just be the best Destiny revamp. I'm gonna gush about Buccaneer for like the next 2 years. If you haven't, go play Buccaneer. It's great. If you've got into 200 for your Legion already, go play it anyways. It's so fun, dude. It's actually just so fun. Sacred seal of approval. Top 5 class in MapleStory. But that has been Buccaneer. The first of the final 5. The second of our final 5. Yep, I'm going to be starting another 250 before Ignition, because there's just too much time before Ignition for me not to play MapleStory. I'm thinking it's time to get a little holy up in here. Time to bring out the Paladin, the Copper Sand Special. I got some big shoes to fill, but I'm looking forward to it. If you have any questions about Buccaneer, if you have any questions about my journey to getting all these classes in the game to 250, or if you have any questions about MapleStory in general, feel free to ask in the comments below. I make it a point in all these videos to answer any and all questions that I see. So, hope this video was informative. Hope you liked it. And I hope to see you in the next one.